Hi, guys. We are back for episode 2 of Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. We are covering in this episode chapters 12 through 22. I got that right. We are doing 6 episodes of 11 chapters each. If this is the first episode you're diving into, that's weird. At least start at episode 1 or Fourth Wing. Um, but we will spoil everything or everything that we're able to talk about in these chapters. So if you haven't read them and you don't want to be spoiled, turn away, go finish reading, and then come back. I feel like there was a ton to talk about, and I know after we finished episode 1, we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna make these episodes shorter, but there definitely won't be more to talk about in in these next chunks of chapters because we had to update ourselves on what happened in the first 2 books, and I was wrong. I was wrong, at least. I feel like there's even more to talk about in these 11 chapters than in the first 11 chapters. I don't know if you guys agree or you're like, nah, nothing happened. It was super boring. No. Head's empty.
Most of the time my head is empty, yes.
I
No.
feel like I feel like I was taking copious notes, like Elena was saying. Like, you had a notebook out. Like, I feel like there were a lot of things that happened in these 11 chapters that I feel like usually we check in on like the characters we love and like the relationships, and I don't even have that in here. I'm just like, what are all of these foreboding lines about what is coming down the pike in this book? I am so anxious. Am I alone?
You're telling me you don't have any notes? You're telling me that you don't have any notes about Xaden jealousy at all from any of these chapters?
No. No, I don't. I mean, there were beautiful
That's crazy.
moments. Beautiful moments with Xaden and Violet that we could probably talk about for a full hour, but then I wouldn't be able to talk about things like, why do rebellion relics cause extra signets? Can someone please explain this to me? Did we know this before? Are we just finding this out now?
Yeah, it implied that we should have been able to figure it out because apparently Violet saw Liam wield a second signet at some point and we just ignored it.
I had no idea. Like, I don't really think that this was something that we realized from reading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. And just all of a sudden, it's like, oh, now apparently the people with rebellion relics might have extra signets. And I love how Xaden was like, yeah, like sometimes it happens, but like, we don't keep track because we don't want people to know. I'm like, do you not keep track? Is it actually sometimes, or do you all actually have extra signets? You just don't talk about it. Like,
When we read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, I don't think we realized that Xaden could have had one because we were so focused on Violet and trying to figure out what it was. That when it was revealed that Xaden had one, we were just so shocked.
But you bring up the next point that I want to talk about in relation to this, Jamie, which is Xaden's second signet that we know about is not from his rebellion relic. So does he have 3?
No,
3.
no, he does not. No.
Like, is our OP boy going to be even more OP? Like the most OP by 2 or 3 times the normal person?
No.
Okay, Elena, why are you so against Xaden having 3 signets?
I just don't think he's going to. And this could be a moment where, 3 episodes from now, you're like, ha, I told you. And I'll be like, damn, I wasn't really sure. But I feel like 3 signets would be too overpowered.
What if it's something super simple, like agrarian or whatever some of the random boring ones are?
Can grow plants. No, I don't think so. But talking about Xaden's signets, what's up with his signet growing in strength? Is that just natural happening, or is that venom happening? It was just a weird line that jumped out at me, where he can now read people's thoughts completely.
No, I'm hoping it's
big
just
bad and
big. Yeah, that he's gonna be a big baddie. Big baddie venom.
No.
No, I'm hoping
No,
it's just
he's
his
big
powers
bad.
growing because oh my god, what is his name? Riddick? his frozen water, ice powers are growing too.
It does also seem like
True.
Riddick at least thinks that his powers are beyond that of a normal ice wielder, because he says that. He's like, I don't think many ice wielders can pull water out of the air. So Riddick also seems like slightly OP. And I was like, is Riddick's like specific type of ice wielding different from regular ice wielding? And could Riddick be one of these extra like powerful six signets that I keep looking out for? Like, is he possibly one of them?
Yeah, no.
Elena's
I'm
like,
very prepared.
no.
It's OP
I'm very
enough.
prepared for Riddick to die in approximately 10 chapters.
No.
Wait,
Come
approximately
on.
how many chapters do you think we have left with him?
Did you not get that vibe? It was like, you need to bring me on this mission. Bad things happen when we're not together. Like that entire build up where he was like, I need to come. I need to come. And I was like, sir is gonna die on this mission. Sir is begging to come on this mission. He's gonna be the sacrificial death. I already know it. And I'm already about it.
So I personally think that if that happens, Riddick is actually going to be like our pump fake. Like I think that he goes on maybe this mission or one mission where like they do make it out alive and he's like, it's because of me. Like I went along, so I was the lucky charm, and then he dies on the next one. And he's like, well, at least I was here to save you. And then we watch him die, and then Brooke is a husk of a person for at least 6 days afterward. But we'll see. TBD.
I'm scared.
Yeah. I think it jumped out at me because I literally think last episode we were like gonna die. Riddick seems ripe for the taking, and then there was an entire chapter dedicated to him forcing his way onto a very dangerous mission.
Yes. Yeah, Riddick does seem like he could potentially not make it out of this book. But also, like, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people seem like they probably won't make it out of this book. And, like, they can't all die, right? Like, that would be anticlimactic in a different way.
Also, like the line. So after he said that, there's a line directly from the letter where it says, like, be careful who you trust, or trust only people that you would go to war with. And that
Yes.
makes me concerned, not that he would die, but more that he would betray her or someone in her group that she trusts. And that
That would be
scares
awful.
me.
Yeah.
And like, what if what if one of them is Venom? And I can't think of anyone in like the OG group of, a fourth wing who that could be.
What
Other
is that
than a professor, right? Especially when that line that Violet was like, who has been here for years deceiving us?
Yeah, that's true. You want to hear my totally
It's a good
unhinged
call
theory
out.
about who the Venom is?
Yes.
Oh, is it Zayden? Is your guess Zayden?
No, he's like the Venom out in front. Like he's not. No. My totally unhinged theory is that it's Mira. That's my totally unhinged take.
That came up in my mind during the last couple of chapters. Like, what if it's someone close to her family?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be
But
cynical.
this is connected to my other theory that the Venom aren't necessarily evil and that her dad had some connection with them, because he says that line, and that is not a throwaway line. Trust only Mira. Why? Why does he say that in his letter? And like, yes, surface level, we can say, as far as dad knows, that's probably the only living family member that she has. So sure, trust only Mira, trust your only family member. It can't be that simple. It can't be the only reason that he would say something like that. So why would he say that?
Interesting. My shout out was about to be if one of her siblings was Venom, it would be Brennan. Just because of the whole he was supposed to die thing. But
I think that
yeah, the trust
Mira's.
only Mira line
Yeah, no, go ahead.
got to me because I know that on a surface level it's because Brennan was dead. So like Brennan was dead, so that's why he said trust only Mira. But then it makes me sus of Brennan because it says trust only Mira, which I know isn't fully logical, but that's where I landed.
Yeah. Is it trust only Mira? Yeah, I don't know. I just, the way that I took that, and like I know that it's a rabbit hole, is like, what if dad entrusted this like Venom partnership to Mira? And is like, she is really the key to like figuring out what is going on with the Venin, because Dad like gave her something, or you know, some knowledge or whatnot. But it also just really hit me like, so Mira's signet would be really good for this, like her ability to create wards wherever she wants to, because then she could control when she takes power from the earth or not. She's gone randomly. She just like is off screen at random times doing, I mean, we think we know, but maybe we don't. And then did you guys also notice that in that scene after we light an entire town on fire, that we get that letter from theoretically Theophany, that just like happened to know that they would be there to get that gem?
And Mira's
But
the one that found it.
who found the letter and hands it to Violet?
Brooke.
I've got chills. I don't want to be right, but I'm afraid that I am. I don't want to.
Oh my god.
Right?
Yeah, that is an interesting theory, given that Mira is the one that gives it to her. The other person who I think they might be referring to is Ados, which I know is like a really obvious, like, of course it would be him, but I just think his entire demeanor towards Dane, where he's like, "You're not my son," and he comes off so cold, it aligns pretty directly with the whole like, Venom lose touch with their emotions thing. Like, if that, assuming, because I feel like your theory banks on Venom are not necessarily evil. If like we continue at face value, Venom are evil, and like you do lose yourself, which I feel like is potentially hinted at with like there's a couple comments every now and then where it's like something cold passes over Zayden, like there's nothing behind his eyes for a second, like he can't, like I need to bring him back, like that kind of thing. I would lean towards it wouldn't be someone like we know it like clearly shows emotions and stuff versus Ados. I feel like I'm assuming at some point he was an okay dad and then he just went to hating his son. I mean, he could have always been a terrible guy, but
Well, no, and I mean, I think that if we go on that side, that like Venom are evil and Dad has now left this information for Violet to like vanquish them. He says in his letter too, like if you still have a fondness for Dane and he's followed in his father's footsteps, like you're gonna have to give that kid up. So I mean, like I think that it's totally true that like Dad knows that Atos is like not a good guy, and we can take that surface level. Like, of course he's not. He was working with the government and covering stuff up, but does it go one step further and is he also Venom? Maybe.
that's a great read of it. I didn't even think about that line specifically, but if you could take that, be like, Papa knows that he's Venom.
So Atos and
Love.
Mira are both Venom. Great, good.
But I love how we're all taking like
Okay.
different takes about this letter.
What do these three random words mean? Rebecca's over here like, I didn't think of it that way, but damn. Yeah.
No,
Um,
the other, I feel like the letter had so much. The other thing in the letter that I couldn't wrap my around is when he's talking about like he brings up a weapon. Like he's not talking about finding feather tails. Like he's like, oh, and you if you need a weapon, and to me feather tails aren't a weapon. Like maybe they are, but I don't know. It was reading it something different to me.
I thought it was really interesting because he says feather tails, but then in the
Yeah.
next sentence says if you need a weapon. He had just mentioned feather tails. If he was talking about feather tails or irids or whatever we're calling them now, like he would have just said like they're the weapon, or if you need one of them as a weapon. Like it just doesn't seem like he would be like, oh yeah, I've done all this research on feather tails, also if you need a weapon, like go to this guy. Like it just seems like a separate thought.
Yeah. So maybe the feather tails are like guarding said weapon now. Like maybe that's why they left, but it feels different. And then
Yeah.
also they would need to find the line. But Violet at some point is like, yeah, and like Vish had it about the feather tails, and like now I have a thought, but like I hope I'm not right.
Yeah, I tabbed that because I don't love it, and I don't know if there's something that we can like gather from what she says to figure out what she figured out. But yeah, it's very, very weird. So she says, but once I finally make my way through my dad's manuscript for the third time and scour the research that behemoth requires, I have an inkling of a thought of where he might have been headed in his hypothesis. I keep it to myself partially because I'm scared to be wrong, but mostly because I'm terrified I'm right. When Varish mentioned last year that he thought the research dealt with feathertails, I never imagined it would lead in this direction. And like, I think it's vague enough that I don't think we're supposed to be able to tell what she's talking about, but it seems like Violet has put two and two together, and I'm like, girl, tell me.
I'm already confused.
Now you know
Tell
what
us.
it feels like to be Xaden.
Ah.
Yeah, oh my goodness. But yeah, so you bring up Xaden. Going back to him, I do think that we're supposed to take it as his powers are increasing, and even Violet mentions that her powers are increasing. So like that has been happening. But I do wonder, and I'm just wondering if possibly this is like his third signet, if he has one arising. Like, is it a different type of signet that he now can read people's minds?
I think that his third signet is part of the 6. So he has all 3.
I think he's got 3 of the 6 personally.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Violet will
Well,
get the
because
other
disagree.
3.
okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys because you're right. There are 2 more books, and I do think that there is at least a book 4 where he's on the other side. And like, if nothing else, this book has harped a number of times on the fact that he is one of the most powerful people on our side currently. He's got to at least like potentially go play for the other team just for like a hot minute.
He could live on this island where he doesn't have powers forever.
The end of chapter 22
Really
was
touching
devastating.
moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did anyone else get a weird feeling from that moment though? Is it purely there is no magic here and I'm finally at peace for the first moment in like my whole life? Or is it something else?
No, I'm assuming there's something to it just because there's also a line where they're like, why would the feathertails go here where they like don't, or why would the irids go here because they don't have magic? But also then there's more to because Andarna can still talk to the other dragons and none of the other dragons can. Or it's not to the other dragons, but she can still talk to Violet and Taryn can talk to Violet.
On the other hand, do you think that Violet and Taryn and Andarna being able to still talk to each other is because of Andarna?
Yeah, that's what I. Oh, like specifically because of Andarna, not because of the fact she's an Irid, because of whatever her powers is.
Mm-hmm.
Or, um,
Because I
I would
personally think
lean
that,
towards.
yeah, no, go ahead.
I would lean towards it being an Irid thing, just because if we follow, like, if it's true in the end that the Irids have gone to whatever this island is, then I can't imagine they would be somewhere where they can't talk to one another.
What if everybody currently is positing that it's because of Andarna as a smokescreen? This is actually Violet's second signet.
I also thought that.
Because clearly it's got to be something with the 3 of them. So it is something that the 3 of them have that everybody else doesn't have that's currently with them. Elena, go. Say what you're thinking.
Eden reading her mind thing wasn't his signet, it's her second signet.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going? Okay.
Well, and the thing that has been brought up about Violet specifically in this book so far is the idea that she is a leash. And I am still trying to figure out what that means. And my only thought at this point is, does she have an ability to connect with people and with dragons that like other people don't? Is there like a way that she can create like mental pathways to people and like hold on to them in a way that other people can't? That she has this special signet power. But I think
Like-
it's gotta be either Violet or Andarna.
Like not reading minds, but like talking to them through their mind.
or like somehow connecting with people and using that to whatever end. But when Theophany brings it up, I think when she brings it up, it's in reference to Xaden. And is it that Violet has this power that is going to be part of the cure? Is she going to be able to like leash him or bridge to him in a way that can hold him away from becoming evil? I don't know.
Cool, I think. If she can
I am
infiltrate his
interested.
mind, and then the minds of the Venom network. I'm
Well,
spying.
because literally since chapter 1, I like was like, okay, so Violet's got to become Intrinsic, and then it was like, okay, well maybe she doesn't because her boyfriend is, but now it's like maybe just both of them are, which would be really cool, and then she can also be afraid of herself.
I feel like we're due for some backstory on the whole intrinsic thing, like why
Mhm.
we dislike them so much. Like, there's clearly a backstory there,
Yeah.
Do we think
more
it's
so
not
than
as
just we don't like that they
simple?
their mind.
Because I know what we were talking about before is that the reason that we thought that they might immediately kill Intensix is because then they would be able to figure out about the secrets that Navarre was hiding. But do we think that there's another level to that?
Now I feel like there is, just because, especially because Theophany keeps like making reference to like how the dragons force people to be bonded to them and like control that power. I think it might not be Navarre rule so much as a dragon rule.
Hmm. Yeah. Also, I just remembered that there has been talk about the fact that Eric and whoever other person haven't developed signets yet, and that they're afraid they're going to explode or become Intrinsic. So, at the very least, like Navarre didn't come out and be like, "Okay, we can stop killing Intrinsics now." Like y'all figured out our secrets.
At the very least, it seems like Aric's gonna be intrinsic.
He's got to be something cool, right? He gets a signet about public
King one
speaking and
day.
then is like, "Damn, now I gotta be king."
Maybe it's like voice
When his brother
amplifying.
dies.
Yeah, okay. We're going all out of order from how I put these in there, but he's come up naturally, so we have to speak about Halden. Halden? Halden?
Halden,
Halden?
maybe?
We're gonna go with Halden.
Ask
We're not looking
ask
it
your
up.
sister. So she did the
Kirsten,
audiobook.
how do you pronounce Halden? He totally dies in this book, right? Like 100% dies?
This book.
And
It could be the next book, but
oh, that
some book.
that's fair. That's fair. I just, like Prince X shows up, seems like he might be like kind of gross. Like, I don't know. I immediately was like, oh my goodness. This guy is going to be so endearing. We are going to love him, and then he's going to perish. That's how this has to happen.
Him, at the very least, I'm loving the jealousy scenes. They're giving me life.
Absolutely.
And Ree's commentary
Um,
is that apparently she has a type.
Yes. Love it. Yeah, I did not
talking.
peg Halden happening at all. That was a huge surprise for me.
I did think of him as
Uh,
like one of the possible passwords for the book.
Before we knew that he had dated Violet in the past?
Yes.
You're just like, I need some 6-letter words. Yeah, Elena, what were you gonna
people
say?
that die. R.I.P. Grady, but not really. I feel like
Yeah.
he kind of had it coming, as did Aura.
Yeah.
You know what they say, F around and find out. Build a bad team. Get right.
Yeah, I did think that it was funny how he died. Like literally eh, like total comeuppance of like you put this dumb bitch on the team and she killed you.
Great.
Oops.
She was not prepared, and everyone told you that.
Oh, I'm so glad Aura's not in this book now too. I was already done with her.
Yeah. I am glad that it gave Violet a chance to stand up for herself and be like, this will be my team. You guys can get wrecked. Thanks. Chef's kiss of a scene.
Loved it.
I've got a special color sticky tab that's just for like moments that I love. Like they're not tied to a specific theory or like character or anything. And that I just wanted to like tab each little line. And I was like, just tab the beginning of the scene. That's all. You don't need to go overboard. You're fine. But oh, I loved it so much.
Many of them are Zayden's jealousy.
Well, Zayden has his own color that
He has his own.
Yes, and I mostly use that for like plot Zayden things or like a specifically a Zayden moment.
Oh, okay. So the shadow hands are plot too. Okay.
Well, so Zayden has his own color. Violet has her own color. Same thing. Like, you know, plot things about like her second signet, things like that. Get Violet's color. And then they have a couple color, which is like their two colors combined into a different shade. Like if you were to mix them on a color palette, that's
So cute.
yeah. So the jealousy scene got that color.
I was loving it.
Oh my goodness. The number of scenes that we got in these 11 chapters was beautiful.
So good. How do you guys feel about Professor Zayden and the professor student rules?
Love their time on the mat. I was like, he better kiss her. They better kiss. If they're gonna do this.
There are a few scenes that I love more than the Zayden Violet Matt scenes from Fourth Wing, like in all of Romantasy. Like those scenes like rank top for me. Like they're up there. And I missed them. And there was a part of me that the minute that Zayden was a teacher and Violet was like, oh no, we have to break up, I was like, this is dumb and I don't like it. And then the minute that they were sparring together, I was like, I take it all back. I'm so sorry. This is amazing. Let's do this again.
Reminiscent of Fourth Wing, and that's what I missed about them because I felt like the majority of Iron Flame, they were fighting a lot.
Ugh. Yes.
And I was just like, I was over it. This made me giddy about them again.
Yes. Yeah, it's a totally not contrived plot device to get them back to like the like pre-relationship feels, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
I just got like during that scene though.
What
didn't you
love? Was the you're the only one that can kill me foreshadowing that we ended with?
Guys, you know what scene is going to happen though, right? You know what's going to happen. Is that is going to happen, that they're going to be in that moment. He's going to be like, you have to kill me. And she's going to be like, I am absolutely not going to kill you. Like, I'm going to marry you. I'm going to be the Duchess of Tyrrendor. Like, you can't take that away from me. So stop being evil. Let's ride off into the sunset. It's going to be great. I'm here for that scene.
Spoiler told me.
Spoiler what?
Can I tell you a spoiler Jacob told me?
No.
No.
You would not only ruin it for us, but anyone that's watching. No.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely not.
What if it's not like a physical death, but more like an emotional? I feel like maybe that's what he.
Well, so that's what I'm feeling. Are we allowed to spoil
if you're asking.
Are we allowed to spoil Hunger Games?
I was gonna say, is it Harry Potter?
It's Hunger Games. Has everyone read Hunger Games?
Long time ago.
Everybody block your ears, and when I take my hands out or I say something, oh yeah, so no, if you're only listening to this, no, I'm not gonna ruin it. Forget I said anything about another book series. I personally think that yes, that's probably what is going to happen, is that we're going to have like a mental issue with Zayden, and then we're gonna have to bring him back. You kind of just spoiled Hunger Games.
What's the next point, Brooke?
I'm gonna delete that part. So you're hearing this because I saved you from something that Elena said about Hunger Games. That was a spoiler. And we're quickly moving on because Elena's getting way too spoiler happy. Stop it, you. No spoilers for other books, and definitely not for later on in this book, even if your boyfriend ruined it for you, Elena. That's your own problem. Tell Jacob to
He
keep
just
his
told me
plot points to himself.
he said that when he was like 20 chapters ahead reminded him of a TV show.
And that is as far as you're going. Don't even tell me what TV show. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear about it. You
The
can tell me
Office?
that after we've read the part.
Oh.
No, stop it. Don't even
Sorry.
ask. I'm going to find us another topic to talk about, which will be...
It's an animated TV show, Jamie.
Stop it. So Jack Barlow gives Violet multiple pieces of information, one of which we already talked about, which is that he alludes to the fact that high-level venom cannot be sensed because they can shield it. One other thing that he says that I want to bring up, and I do not know the answer to this, but I'm hoping either of the two of you might have a clue. He says to Violet that she is bonded to 2 villains. What 2 villains is Violet bonded to? Is he talking about the 2 dragons? Is he talking about Xaden and one of them? Is he talking about somebody entirely different? Like, is Violet bonded to someone else other than the 3 of them? Like, what did he mean?
The dragons.
Why do you think that?
Well, he called Xaden brother at the end of Iron Flame. And he doesn't consider himself a villain. And that's my guess.
So we think like villains as in not wyverns and not venom. Dragons are bad.
Yeah. I interpret it as dragons because I think Jack, the first perspective we've gotten from a venom, that dragons are the villains in their story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Sophony, or whatever her name is, also, like, kind of alludes to that, too. So I kind of just assumed he meant dragons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because aren't venom, like, the ones that aren't bonded with dragons?
Correct.
Initially, yeah.
I think they got real jelly. And
they wanted power and magic and all that, and they couldn't get that without a dragon. So they took from the slurping the juice, earth juice.
And connected to that kind of is, now that we know venom can have their own signet, I feel like popular lore is a writer gets their signet from their dragon, but if venom can have their own signet, then it might kind of work the other way around too. Like, Violet might have had lightning no matter what dragon she was bonded to.
I do think that we kind of know that, right? Because they do say that the signet is specific to the human, not the dragon. It's just that they channel the dragon's power. But yeah, it is interesting that the venom also have signets. Where did they come from? Is it just that they like take the power straight from the earth? So then they just bond the signets, like they develop the signets that they would have anyway if they'd had a dragon? But yeah, that's interesting to think that Jack meant the 2 villains were the dragons, because all I was thinking of, because he was kind of talking about Xaden before he said that, I was thinking he might have meant Xaden and Andarna because of whatever he knows specific about like Andarna's kind, but I don't know. It just seemed like a very weird line to me. I also wanted to bring up the many, many times that there have been throwaway lines and semi-jokes about Xaden and Violet getting married in these last 11 chapters. I don't know if you guys also caught the multiple times that people were like, Milgren's going to force you guys to get married and, like, pass on your amazing magical ability. And what else? Xaden's remark, which I definitely tabbed with their couple color because I need to go back and read it multiple times, was Xaden saying that boyfriend wasn't a strong enough word for what they are. I was like, this has to end in them getting married, right? This book, like, they will be married by the end of this book.
Yeah. Like, not as, like, the ending.
No.
But I would like to see it somewhere.
Yeah.
Between now and the series end, at least.
No, like, I see it happening by the end of this book, and I'm not happy about it. Like I foresee them being married and me crying for days about however it goes down, or about however things go down afterward. Like, I won't be okay. I've already decided I won't be okay after this book.
like married and widowed or married and separate, like not physically
Something
together. Oh
awful,
god.
Jamie, or like married
Oh,
for
no.
the wrong reasons. Like,
Ah,
I don't know what it's going to be, but I know I'm not gonna like it.
your scenarios always scare me. I'm always
Right.
like, I'm on for the ride. I'm just reading for fun. You come up with these theories and it scares me. It scares me
I'm
because sometimes they're true.
yeah.
Sometimes
I
they come true.
I'm over here considering if I need to fill my anxiety medication prescription for this book. Like, I can't just be along for the ride because I'm too nervous about how many times people are like, ha ha ha, you should get married. It's like the tone of this book is not wedding bells at the end. It's tears and death.
We need to at least film your reactions. No, I'm serious. Your chapter reaction, we need to get them filmed.
I would have to
Because
know
I
what
want to
chapters to film, and I
I want
don't.
to know if you're
It's just
like
gonna be me crying.
excited that things happened that you predicted, or are you just like my idea was better.
Luckily, you'll get all of my thoughts in these episodes.
We could get them live. Assuming Jamie and I read ahead of you, we can just be like, please record your reaction to reading chapter 27.
Brooke, please turn on your video at page 394, which I finally remembered the page number after I couldn't believe I couldn't remember it in episode 1. Yeah. That would kind of spoil for me that something is about to happen that
Yeah,
I need to
that's the
like gear up
fear.
for.
Well, give us Matt's number, and we'll ask him to ask you what page number you're on,
Like, I
and
won't notice when Matt just like shows up and all of a sudden he's just like videoing my face. He's like, "Oh, what page are you on? Hold on, let me just put this
tell
right here." Like,
tell Matt to be very discreet.
oh my goodness, I
Maybe as
don't know if
he's
that would
like
work.
passing by with the drink for you, some
Yeah.
snacks. You're like, "How are you, honey?"
Just like all of a sudden like a dirty martini shows up and I'm like, why is this here?
A box of tissues. He was like, "This might come in handy."
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awful. Um okay, we talked a little bit about the conversation that happened regarding coming up with a 6-letter passcode for Violet's dad's journal. And we mentioned that Jamie, you had said that you thought maybe Halden, and they talk about like, okay, if it's a first love is irreplaceable, right? That was like the clue. So everybody starts thinking like, okay, what first loves are there? Is it Lilith? That's too obvious. Is it Violet? That's too obvious. They mentioned Brennan. Like they start going down the siblings, and I loved that they were like, well, who was Brennan's first love? And they don't like actually say it. But like that was also a 6-letter word.
We know.
That's it.
I'm gonna be real shocked if it's not Nowlin.
We know for a fact the answer to that question is Nowlin. It's just like I feel like
Why
Rebecca
won't you say
purposely
it?
put that in there. She purposely put that in there to make
Wait
us
a
start
minute.
thinking, to remind us of Nowlin because he's coming in this book.
Or
And maybe on or off screen also. I would take that. But he's going to
or
show
that
up
it's
again in this book.
so obvious that it's Nowlin that she's gonna wow us and be like, "Psych! It's not. It's someone else."
He was also dating like a weird princess that you
He's
guys didn't know
dating the
about.
sage.
Right. Who's Nowlin?
Sage is dead.
We think.
Elena. Oh my goodness, I
You
didn't even
do
think we
you
needed to
not
talk
know?
about that.
Do you not know Brooke and her no body rule?
Wait, I'm
No
sorry.
body, no crime.
Do we have to pause and talk about that? Elena, you actually think the sage is dead?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I do actually think the sage is dead, but I don't think I understand what your side is gonna be.
Yeah, it's Nowlin. They're gonna be together again.
We
and I
got the
can't
name
wait.
of the other like main sage guy though. Of like the new main sage guy from Theophany, and it was not Nowlin.
Oh yeah, it was some B name.
That's
Yeah. It was some other name, so unless they like take new name in their venom.
I mean, Brennan also changed his name after like Nowlin saved his life and then became Venom instead of dying. So I mean, Nowlin could have also changed his name.
Name changes. They're Venom.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's the new theory now.
That's my favorite.
Xaden is now Craig.
Oh, why Craig?
I was trying to think of a toast name.
You just picked like a random white guy name for Xaden. Congrats, Xaden. You're now Craig.
You know what? You know what else about first loves? I don't think they mentioned Mira's, right?
No, they did, but they
Oh,
didn't.
they did?
They like asked who Mira's was, and then they made more jokes about it. Like, oh, I don't know if Mira's ever like been with someone, and then like there was a joke about like, what wasn't there a joke about? Oh, there was a Griffin rider one time, or were we talking about that?
We were talking about
Us.
Okay.
We were, you know, guessing.
Yeah, because are you guys now on the she's totally gonna end up with Drake or whatever his name is? Like train? Are
That
you guys on that
was
train?
my suspicion when I was reading Iron Flame, because there was a scene where she had asked Kat's sister who about a specific Griffin rider, and they were like, "Oh, same last name, but he's a cousin or something like that," and it's Drake.
So it's the
So I
same
was
one.
like, "Oh," and then they meet, and she kicks him in the gonads. So I was like, "Oh, maybe they're not a match."
No, there's no better start to a relationship than kneeing someone in the nuts. Like, I
True.
stand by that. They are now meant to be.
Seems like he's like the player too. Did you guys get
Fated
that?
mates.
Does he have
Bonded?
does he have like a power?
He must. Or like, you know, like the little, like the lesser magic that they have. But yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah. I'm interested to see more of them.
Yeah.
Because you had me on the Mira Marin track. I was like, oh, they would be cute.
Yeah.
But that was just based
Yeah.
on names, right?
Right. I was like, you know, it would be really confusing if Mira dated Marin.
Right. I don't think we had scenes of them together. But
Just like if somehow Nolan dated Nowlin. We'd be like, who? Which one? Who the what now?
Oh, Alan's dead.
Right.
did.
For those listening, I'm winking very suggestively.
Oh, I did air quotes.
What else have we not talked about? Oh my goodness. Oh, I want to bring up Lilith's letter again that we talked about in the last episode that we think she's writing to her husband, and she talks about Violet's like first two loves and how she has bad taste in men. Do we think now that she was talking about Halden and Dane?
I think her parents liked
hard.
Dane.
What was that? Her parents?
Yeah, like her dad, at least when he wrote the letter in his journal, which I'm assuming had to be close-ish to when he died, because it seems like he was doing that pretty soon before he died. He was like really hyping up Dane. He was like, I prepped Dane, like Dane is there to support you. Which like would make me think that her parents were like pro Dane.
But on the other hand, he also says that like if Dane did follow in the footsteps of his dad, like you're basically gonna have to like move on without him.
Did you just mouth Elena?
If he follows in the footsteps of his dad, he becomes Venom.
Yeah, possibly. So now I'm wondering, like, was the whole weird vibe that I was getting from that letter just that we were supposed to learn that her first two loves weren't Dane and Xaden, that they were actually Halden and Xaden, or Halden and Dane?
It could also be construed that maybe it's not Dane at all because they never dated.
But like,
She said she was in love with Halden and they dated.
yeah. Do I need to come back out of my rabbit hole about her possibly not writing to her dad or her writing to someone else that she's in love with that's not Violet's dad, but is actually the man who helped sire Violet? Like, did I go too far on that one?
No, I think it's possible because it didn't say like to her husband, right? There
It
was
didn't.
like it was we don't know who the recipient is, right?
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So maybe there's still something else there. I'll keep it on the back burner.
Yeah.
I'll keep my eyes out.
I wouldn't say it's
Elena, you
set
got
in
thoughts.
stone.
What are your thoughts? Throw it.
Over it being someone else that she's in love with, I would have it be she was writing it Violet's dad, but he's not dead. He is Venom.
I do think that would be better. Yeah, out of those options. But then again, now that we know about Halden, whatever his name is, it does seem that she was probably writing it at a time when he was alive.
Maybe.
Actually,
But how is it that
isn't
we didn't learn his
there-
name, like the dad's name, until now in this section?
I know. Yeah, his name's Asher.
Even when she was dying, she always says, "Now I can join my love." Who's your love? State his name.
Yeah. Like, does it begin with an A?
Like little
something
holes.
when people die, they have to burn all their things?
Like, are you
Have we
wondering
ever
if
like
there's more
figured out?
to it?
Yeah, like have we ever
Mm,
figured out more about that?
no. And is it probably just a weird cultural thing? Yeah. Could be something else though.
Mentioning weird cultural things that never have an impact or have a reason and are just throwaways. That happens a lot.
Yeah, just random detail about the culture that Rebecca came up with for no plot reason whatsoever. That was actually super anticlimactic. That was all I had. Those were the topics that I had. I thought that was going to take us forever, but we got through it.
I think we did well.
Yeah. Anything that anyone is like worried about for this next section or thinks is going to happen? Are we going to see our first like real character death because we all know we didn't care about Grady and Aura? And also whoever that other random
Really
person was
sad.
that fell off of his dragon. I didn't care.
What do you mean? I was devastated. Aura was my new favorite Dane character.
Oh, Aura was. Yeah. I thought you were going to mention the person that fell off of their dragon as an accident. Like which it was a sad
Oh,
like tidbit, but I've already forgotten their name again.
Yeah, same.
we didn't know how Dane came through.
You're right. He
He
did.
did good. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
Is anyone else concerned that we didn't see it happen?
A little bit, because we totally forgot about it.
Yeah. Like, I'm not doubting that this is her dad's journal. I take that back. Now I'm doubting it's definitely her dad's journal. Like, we're not
Password,
like
the note.
yeah. Okay. All right. I'm done. That rabbit hole, I've filled it. We're not going there. It's definitely her dad's research. But like, is there anything else that could have been weird with Dane off screen making this happen?
I had that thought. I am a little bit worried about it. It feels too easy for Dane to
Yeah.
just like. I feel like Violet was like, "This is a big ask for him," and Dane was like, "Okay, I'll do it. Here you go."
Or
So it made me a little bit worried.
Or it really is just face value because it is in Violet's POV. We would have never have seen it happen. He couldn't bring her with him. He had to do it solo. So we just had to take it that it is the journal. And he didn't, hopefully didn't tell his dad.
Even the thing that I'm wondering is that there hasn't been like a conversation with Dane. Like, because Dane does a cool thing and he like hands it off to Jacinia, who then like hands it off to Sloane, who then hands it off to Violet. Like, I loved that. I was like, Dane, great. Yes. Use your intelligence. Amazing job. I think like we still haven't like Violet still hasn't had a conversation with him to be like, hey, so it went well, like no snags. And I'm not on the like, is Dane doing something weird train? I'm wondering like, did he like step on a little tripwire that he doesn't realize? Like, was he videoed the whole time? Like, did he accidentally leave his fingerprints on something and his dad knows what's going on? Like, I just wonder if there's something in there that because we didn't see it happen, that it's gonna come back and bite us.
Yeah, what else was in that secret compartment?
Or that.
Trust issues. Like, since when does anything go correctly the first time?
Right. Yeah.
You're making me so nervous.
But
Hmm.
proud of Dane now. I was very worried.
You were so confident before until Brooke brought it up.
I do think that Dane passed the test. I'm not questioning that. Like, I do think that this was a nice moment where Dane like did the thing and he was there for Violet, and I really like that show of character. And like when Dane dies, because I'm gonna say it's a when he dies, I'll be kind of sad. Like, I don't think I'll cry. I think more would need to happen between now and his death for me to like really feel it that hard, but like I think I'll be sad.
Like, I feel like maybe he had to do like a big sacrifice or something to have us
Hmm.
have that moment, have that feeling about his loss. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it'd just be like, you did what you did.
Yeah. Like,
We're gonna see in approximately 10 chapters where Violet's sleeping like this, and then she wakes up to Dane like this on her face,
oh God.
finding the journal information for his dad.
Yikes.
Oh, maybe we'll see more of her dreams. I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah, I think we talked about the dream in episode 1. I'm
Mhm.
already forgetting.
Oh yeah,
Um,
this is only 2.
this is only episode 2 of 6, guys. We are at chapter 22. There are 66 whole chapters in this book. I feel like so much has already happened,
I
and we've got
know,
so
yeah.
much more to go. Which I'm not complaining about. I could have this book last forever. So far, I'm still loving it. I cannot wait to keep reading this.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I hope you're all enjoying it with us. Any final thoughts? Any last things, scenes, lines people wanted to get out there? No? All right.
It looks like the next section is also 100 pages. So
Okay, good. So just about the same amount. But
good.
yeah, join us back here next week for episode 3. We're going to read through chapter 33. And if you're still reading along and you want to come join us on Fable, please do. I think that's partially why I can't remember what we've talked about, is because we've been having a great time chatting about chapter by chapter with a bunch of our book court friends over there, some of you. So yeah, if you want to join us, come on over there. And yeah, come back here and we'll keep having Onyx Storm absolutely emotionally destroy us. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.